Hello, my name is Voya and welcome to my deep guide. Today we are checking out the Mobiscribe Origin. This is a device that I visited a bit over a year ago, a little over a year ago, and when it just came out. I was quite happy with it as a note-taking device, but it had some shortcomings as a platform. It wasn't really truly complete. They've just released update 7.0.2, which is an important major update that improves some quite important things on the platform, and I thought it was a really good idea and good time to revisit this really unique device on the marketplace and check it out. What's it like with the new updates, what they bring, and what's it like a year after its release. Alright, and here we are back with the Mobiscribe Origin. And first things first, what is this kind of a bumper thing? Well, that's the new kind of silicone bumper that they have issued, and this is actually a pen made out of cement. It was a limited edition run that just was went out only to a couple of people, and it has a ceramic nib and a driver, pretty much the same one like you have on a Supernote. So it doesn't spend, doesn't have an eraser or anything, so it's just a nice little thing that they sent a couple of months ago, and I've been using it since, and it's really kind of fun and I love it. It's not something that's going to fit to a lot of people, especially because it's very short, but to my writing style and the way I use it, it actually is a super nice one. The only thing is that it doesn't have an eraser, but that's okay. With that explanation out of the way, let's focus on the Mobiscribe. Let's just assemble it back. Okay, so Mobiscribe Origin. I've reviewed it originally a year ago, a little over a year ago, and I'm gonna couple this video with the latest update that they've issued. Update, I believe 7.02 the version currently is. And this video is gonna be, of course, visiting the new features, but also revisiting the platform and seeing what is the current state of the platform, and addressing the negatives and cons and concerns that I had from the original review, and to see what has been improved and what has not been improved, and where the platform overall is right now at the moment, at the beginning of, well, a little bit over a beginning of 2022. Right, so one of the most important improvements and major features added to the Mobiscribe Origin from the version 7.02, I believe it is that the handwriting speed has been considerably increased. So before, the device, I believe, was at around 60-ish milliseconds, but now they say that it's at 33 milliseconds. I wasn't able to confirm the 33 milliseconds, but when I did the desktop test, it measured at 37 milliseconds, which is still extremely good. So now the writing on the Origin is even better, and as you can see, it's super fast. So it's really fast, and it feels, coupled with the feel, the writing feel and everything, it just feels really good. So the writing was always the strong point of the Mobiscribe Origin, and now with the improved latency, it has been, upped even further, and it just feels even better. So a really considerable improvement to the platform itself, and something to definitely keep in mind, and a very welcome thing to see. They also mentioned that the page flipping speed in documents has been improved, and I can definitely attest to that. So now not only are the touch gestures registered, and missed gestures are kind of a thing of the past, but actually this kind of page flipping is super fast. Now the only thing you have here is the refresh mode, but we'll come back to that a little bit later, because I just had a thought now I'm seeing this. There's a little experiment that I might want to do, but for now I'm just gonna put a pin in it. Hopefully I'll remember it, because there might be a trick to a Mobiscribe Origin now. So let's come back to that a little bit later, but for now, page flipping is super duper uber fast, and the touch gesture detection is really good. So that's another nice thing to see on the Origin. And now that I'm flipping these pages, that is a very nice segue into the next thing that they've added, I'm just going to continue flipping pages just to see how it performs. And you can see that while the performance of the page flip is really, really fast, I mean, it detects it immediately, but this document here, I've intentionally opened it because it has a lot of small text and a lot of images virtually on every single page. And that reinforces the refreshment, and it kind of tests the performance and stability of the device very nicely. So first of all, I can say that it's far more stable than it was before. So that's a good thing to see. But the next thing that I want to test out, and that's the final major improvement that they have added in this version, is that now you have the ability to use e-ink optimization functions, or you have an e-ink optimization center for third-party apps. But you can also do the e-ink optimizations for the native apps as well, which is basically, yeah, everything is third-party on the Origin. So that means the reader, notes, and everything can also be optimized. So let's try and see how does it perform, the reader itself, in different refresh modes. Yes, Mobiscribe Origin has different refresh modes. Let's check that out. All right, so what we gotta see, it's a little bit kind of backwards. It took me a while to figure it out. So what you need to do is, of course, be in Tools, which is basically apps, not tools, but apps, but okay, fine. Then you do a long press on an app and you will get an optimize. So that's standard Android behavior. And this is the e-ink app optimization center. So what does it actually allow us? Well, we can change the full page refresh frequency. So it can refresh on every operation or on every page, and then you can adjust that, which is very cool. And then we have the refresh modes. So we have the reading mode, we have the normal mode, we have the balanced mode, and we have a fast mode, which is really, really cool. And you also have animation filter if you want to avoid page flipping animations in certain applications, for example, Kindle or something like that. Then you also have a tab for display where you can adjust the contrast to enhance the display, and a threshold, white threshold, when it's going to be, which grayscale is going to be cut out to white, and you can adjust that per app. So these things are really good, and it says, oh, you're adjusting that on the calculator. Amazing. And you exit by just tapping on the side. So that's how you adjust that, and you can do that on any of the apps, right? So you can go to optimize for the PDF reader. Now, incidentally, that's what I want to do, because PDF reader is your native app that you use on the Mobiscribe Origin for reading PDF files. Now I can see actually that it's using which setting it has. So it has these settings, and I can see, oh, it's actually using a normal mode. So let's see what the reading mode is like on the PDF reader. And if I tap it, it should open up. Yep, there we go. So that's our books. And now if I go back to this one, let's see if there are some differences. Well, not much. It looks good. Looks very similar to the normal mode. And the refreshing is pretty much the same. All right, well, let's go back into Tools. And yeah, one thing, for example, why I left Kindle here. Even though I can do a long press and optimize from here, I can't do it here. And it's a really weird thing that you don't have access to these apps up there over here. So if I long press on Kindle, it's not going to do anything. If I left my finger there, it would launch the Kindle. So I didn't want to do that. So I just went down here. So let's try and optimize and see. So we saw normal. We saw... let's try normal mode. I mean, it wasn't normal mode. So let's go to balanced mode on the PDF reader. And let's see, what do we get? Right, so there we go. Now we no longer have that really kind of hard full-on refresh for the images. And I like the balance of the text a little bit better. The contrast is a little bit less harsh, and you get to have quite a lot more Well, not a lot more speed now. And now we're getting to the problem of the PDF as it was before, which was the stability. So as I mentioned, the stability of the app has been improved somewhat, but not entirely, because as you can see here, it just crashed. So now it's completely locked up, and I don't know if I can do anything to debug. Nope, it's locked up completely. So there's definitely the problems of stability of that PDF reader app there. They've been there before, and now unfortunately a year later, like even like basic stuff that you start, as soon as you start properly using it on anything a little bit more advanced, the PDF reader app just simply is not able to handle that kind of a workload. I mean, it just crashed on me now, so now I have to restart the device. All right, so if you have that kind of thing happen, it looks a little scary, but you just press and hold the power button for about 7 seconds. You will see the green light blink once, which means that it's shut down, but it's not going to refresh the screen simply because the app crashed, so it's not refreshing the screen. So it will remain as if nothing happened, because that's how an e-ink display works, right? It didn't refresh, it didn't clear out the screen. So what you gotta do then is, then you gotta press and hold until, you know, it blinks again, and then you gotta wait a little while, several scary seconds, and then the green light will appear, and then the screen will refresh. So all of that kind of stuff. Why the screen doesn't refresh? It's because the app crashed a portion of the system, at least, simply because the system didn't manage to hit the refresh screen function, which it should have on the shutdown. So the stability, particularly of that PDF app, is still an issue 1 year into all of this. But let's continue the testing and see, did it remember the settings? Yes, it did. And let's see, do we have the issues again or not? Can we just go normally and use it in balanced mode? Because they really like how the balanced mode looks like. So this looks good. Okay, so I don't want to tempt the faith and crash it again. So let's now test finally the final mode, which was the speed or the fast mode. And there we go, fast mode. Okay, so now let's launch PDF reader and see. Okay, so we have a slight degradation of the where are my documents? Let's go to recent. So we have the image quality is still okay. Let's see on this small one, still quite okay, and yeah, you get it to be quite a lot faster. And this mode is very much the same performance like you would get. Look at this. This is now super fast on a very hard document for the little Mobiscribe. So these are the same pages that we've seen before, and we have that. And if I don't want the full screen refresh to happen that often, because I don't see any significant ghosting here, I can go to tools and further optimize my PDF reader and then say, hey, full screen refresh at maximum. So like maybe after 30 pages, I guess that's after 30 pages. So now let's go back to the PDF reader. Please wait, I am waiting. Okay, go to Nord. All right, and let's now see, what do we get? Let's go full page here, and let's, yep, full page refresh has now been delayed. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I don't know what the 30 value is. It's definitely not number of pages. It would be nice if it would be explained what does the number actually mean. But here it is. The Mobiscribe Origin has been pretty much transformed. The reading experience is transformed as far as speed goes. So not only is the page flipping has been improved, but when you combine it with the optimization of the apps and you do a little bit of kind of digging in to optimize these apps, that's a pretty considerable transformation as far as the performance and usability of the Mobiscribe Origin. So that's extremely good. But what's not good is that stability. So the performance is great. It's not crashing right now, but since it has crashed on camera, as you've seen how it happened, And I had similar kind of crashing before, originally when I was testing it as well. That was a negative before, and that is still a negative today, 1 year after. But the overall performance and the flexibility of the reader has been improved quite a bit as far as speed goes, at least. Now, the final thing regarding the app optimizations, I mean, I've shown how it works, right? But I've also shown that you can't optimize Kindle. So how do I optimize Kindle if I wanna optimize it and it's already there? Or how do I optimize Notes if I wanted to optimize Notes? Well, this is where there's room for considerable improvement, simply because the user experience and user interface isn't really implemented properly. It has too many steps that are completely unnecessary. So what you then need to do is you have to go to settings, then you gotta go to display, then you gotta go to customize shortcuts, then you gotta remove the shortcut of the one that you don't want. So let's say Kindle and I want Notes to be calendar. Then I go home, then I go to tools, and then these are available for me to long press and optimize Kindle so that Kindle has expert settings, but maybe I don't want expert settings. Maybe I want it to be very fast, and I want to add delay to avoid page flipping animation. Yeah, maybe like this. And now when I open it up, now I've deregistered Kindle basically from everything, so I'm not going to go through the whole loading and signing into the Kindle and everything. It works like any other app. You just have these things I've shown how it works before. So now you can also optimize Notes, which is a thing that I will be experimenting with to see how does it behave and how does it look like. And don't forget you also have the display option of adjusting the display. So the capabilities are there, and it's definitely not a small thing. It reads like a footnote, like e-ink optimization center for third-party apps. First of all, it reads like a footnote. Second of all, the way it's implemented, it's really hard to find. And third of all, even when you know how to find and how to use it, I mean, now I just need to return everything back to the normal thing, and I have to go to setting, customize shortcuts, and then get back my Notes, and then go here and get back Kindle, for example, if I wanted to, and then I'm back, right? So there's no need for that many steps. I mean, there's absolutely no need for that. So first of all, either allow the option to long press these as well when you're in tools mode, so that you can adjust it, the optimization. But what would be far more ideal is if we would be able to set these things up both from here on the upper region as well, as shortcuts, and also in the app itself. So that would be the best of all, especially when we're talking about the adjustment of the contrast and all that kind of stuff. But I just wanted to show all of these functionalities, that they are there and they are quite powerful. They can be quite powerful, but they are very fiddly at the moment, and it requires a lot of steps back and forth. But I think, in the case of the reader, for example, it's very much worth it because it is a transformative experience. All right, so those are the new features of the update, and I think that they're very considerable. So the faster latency, the improved page flipping in combination with the e-ink app optimization center, they elevate the platform considerably higher, and it just behaves really, really good when it's not crashing. So now I think it's time to actually go to the section of how does it compare a year after, right? So how does it compare to the Mobiscribe Origin from a year ago? And let's go through several things. And let's start with the reader, because that was my number one concern to begin with. Well, one of the things that was a concern was that EPUBs and PDFs are handled with different apps. Now, this has not changed. We still have the exact same kind of approach, and EPUBs are handled by one app, PDFs are handled by another app. You have a completely different user interface, and everything is basically changed. One of the things that has been improved is that previously you didn't have an option to bookmark. It was ridiculous that this was just a bookmark like that, but now you have an option when you tap in the middle. Now we have bookmarks here, and I can add a new bookmark. But again, it feels really kind of strange. and it's not really that intuitive. Formatting is fine, page flipping is fine, it's like, yeah, everything feels okay, and especially if I'm able to find how this app is called, and if I could improve the screen refresh optimizations, that would be even better, not to have this kind of flickering when he's redrawing for the maximum quality. I don't care about the maximum quality here, maybe I just would like it not to do the full-on refresh. So that is the EPUB itself. Now if I go back and then I launch a PDF that you've seen already, now we have an entirely different app like before, which is the PDF Reader app, which has to be installed for the very first time you open up a PDF. Mobiscribe will ask you, hey, do you want to install this? Which is all fine. So that discrepancy is still there a year later. Another thing also, one thing that's kind of important is that one of the major things that was a problem with the EPUB pad is that nope, you cannot write on EPUBs. You can use it as a touch input, which is great, but you have no ability to annotate or write on an EPUB. Similarly, limitations and problems of the PDF Reader app are still there. So I still am not able to long press and select the text to annotate that way, to add annotations, to add comments, to underline. You can do highlighting, so you have the highlighter tool, and then I can do like this, and it works really well, and that transfers into an exported PDF. So that's all good, but then again, you can't search by highlights, right? So you can't only display the pages that have highlights on them, and that's kind of you know, why is it still like that? The second thing is that the zooming is still very weird. Now I would like to see how does it perform with improved screen refresh. It's still weird because right now it's entering a different, and I can't navigate when I'm in a zoom mode. And what the hell, did it change display? What's happening? No, it didn't crash again. Oh, I'm in writing. Okay, all right, so now I'm still able. So look at this. If I'm navigating, you can see the redrawing of images, but as soon as I start pinching to zoom, it forces the device into a different refresh mode, which is slower. And now it's going to flip to the mode that I've set it up. So not really the best. One thing that I do like is that now we remain centered. So if I zoom in, and you have an option to lock the visible area. So in case of this document, for example, I could draw a selection set around here, or maybe even if I wanted to have it just like this, maybe. Okay, so now that's my zoom. Yeah, I want to confirm. And now when I flip pages, it remains locked. So that is definitely a good thing to kind of see. So I like that part. One thing that would have been nicer is that it maybe is easier to do it via the finger gestures, that I maybe can zoom out here, then maybe double tap to zoom back to, you know, reset or something like that. I don't know, just a little bit more sophistication in this PDF Reader app. So the formatting, you don't have any formatting abilities, you only have zooming, and that one is also quite limited, but the lock option is a good thing to have. So at least we have that, and that improves the zoom functionality a little bit more. But here's another one that I really don't like, which is when I'm in a submenu of the toolbar, I can't do, I have weird things happening. So can I exit? There we go, then it exits and then it goes. So for example, if I have my pen toolbar open, then it's not reacting to the inputs, which is okay. But what it should do is exit out of this kind of whole thing. Instead, you gotta press OK or tap onto it and then it goes away. So it's small things like that that are just a little bit kind of still a little clunky. On the plus side, we have a couple of additions here. So we have table of contents added to the PDF reader, which is a nice thing to have. It's normal table of contents, and the hyperlinks work as you would expect them to. So that is a nice change to see. Another thing that's also cool is that now we have a star icon up here in the toolbar, which is actually a bookmark. So now I can bookmark my pages. I don't know why can't I? Oh yeah. When you're in the pen mode, then you can't navigate the document. When you go here, then you go like this. I mean, I get it because it disables touch input so that you don't get problems here, but it's a little kind of a strange thing. It takes a little to get used to. But yeah, you have bookmarks. So now if I go to another page and bookmark it here, then these pages are bookmarked. But it took me a while to figure out where these bookmarks are, because logically, where would you go? Well, to the icon next to it, which is table of contents, right? And then I would expect that I have like a little star icon here where I can just tap on it and it displays pages of my bookmarks, and maybe have the ability to manage my bookmarks, such as rename them, delete them, or anything like that. But that's not the case. The way it works on a Mobiscribe is that you have to go to the page layout, and then you have the bookmark icon, and then it does what you want it to do. And basically it just shows the pages that are bookmarked. Then you can tap on it, it takes you to that page, and that's that. So addition of bookmarks is a welcome thing, and it works good, but again, the implementation is a little basic and a little kind of clunky. It's not, I think personally that you would need that equally from page navigation is where you want to have access to the bookmarks and from the table of contents, especially because they are so close to each other, right? So it's a small thing, but still it's something to kind of keep in mind. And also, more importantly for me, would be the management of bookmarks, so that I can name my bookmarks, I can delete my bookmarks from this overview here. That would be a nice thing to have as well. Another really cool thing that we actually now have in the Mobiscribe Origin is, some of you may have noticed that the the orientation or the rotation icon is now gone, right? So you don't have the ability to switch the landscape manually, the document manually to portrait or landscape mode. But what you do have is the same functionality that Supernode now has, or the Supernode has the same functionality as the Mobiscribe does. I don't know who got it first, but the point is that now in end of February 2022, both have the same thing, which is if you open up a landscape formatted PDF, the device will automatically figure out, hey, this is a landscape document, and everything will switch to a landscape document. And then you actually just go back into the other one like this, and then it works as you would expect it to, which is a good thing. So there we go. And with the quick refresh, even a image heavy document is a cool thing to see. So this actually opens up a lot of functionalities, and this is a significant improvement to what we had a year ago, because it's simply a more functional device. Now, if only we had a little bit more of you know, the formatting abilities to actually kind of have this like half page. I can't stop thinking about the half page mode that we have in Supernode now, because it simply is so good and so logical that it's something that the Mobiscribe could really benefit from. So hopefully that's something that will come soon, maybe at some point. But at the moment, yeah, at least we have this intelligent landscape mode for PDF documents, which is a good thing to see for sure. One of the big advantages of the Mobiscribe PDF reader is the ability that before before any other platform, it had the ability to insert pages, notebook pages, into a PDF, so that you can then write, oh, come on. So that you can then write on it if you are in the writing mode. So here you can then write, and that And that becomes a part of the document itself, even when it's exported, which is excellent, and that's really, really cool. But now we've seen that a year later, some platforms are starting to catch up. So for example, Remarkable is the first one of the competitors that has added ability like this one to actually insert a notebook page into a document, but it has a more robust functionality regarding the management of these notebooks. So in the case of Mobiscribe Origin, yes, I have that ability. So here's the page, but I can't do anything to that page or any of the pages of the document. What would have been cool is that you have an option to select the notebook pages and export them, reorder them, move them. Maybe I didn't want it to be here. Maybe I just want to move it somewhere else. You don't have that option here. So now you would have to, I don't know, select, delete, or whatever it is that you may need to do to kind of do that. So that's kind of odd. Another thing that I also am missing is that there's no marquee selection tool here in the reader. And that's a pretty big deal, because if you want to select a portion of text and copy it to another page, tough luck, you don't have that here. So that's something, again, another thing that's still lacking in the PDF markup and reader side of things on the Mobiscribe Origin. And generally speaking, yeah, better page navigation and better implementation of tools, more equal functionalities between the notebook, and maybe the ability to import a page from a notebook into a document to insert it there, maybe to get a page, the notebook page that I made from the document itself. What, did we crash? No, we didn't. We're here. Okay. And then maybe, yeah, export this page and put it into a notebook. So a bit more system integrations to make it as an entire environment, a Mobiscribe environment, not just a collection of disconnected apps. That is something that the Mobiscribe is currently still, unfortunately, completely lacking, because we have completely disconnected functionalities and experiences and user interfaces between EPUBs, PDFs, and notebooks. So that's something that it lacked a year before, and unfortunately it still lacks it. So the reader side of things was not a strong point of the Mobiscribe Origin before. It's not a strong point now either, but some things have improved. So that's a very slight move and a slow move in the right direction, but at least it has moved a little bit. Now on to the notes themselves. This is the strong point of the Mobiscribe Origin, and even back then, it was the strong point of this device, which is great. First and foremost, obviously, as I've mentioned, the writing latency has been dramatically improved, and that is a huge improvement, a very, very big improvement in this one. Now, the second thing is that one of the powers that the many powers that Mobiscribe has as an e-note-taking device, because that's what it primarily is, yep, you have your bookmarks, and then you have your tags. Now the tags was really cool system, but one of the things that I didn't like was that, for example, if you would tap here, if you had existing tags, they would not appear here. And I mentioned a year ago that it would be a cool thing to have this, and now we have it. So for example, in this notebook, I have 2 existing tags. Now if I want to tag another page, it will actually tell me, hey, these are the tags that you already have. Do you want to use existing ones, or do you want to add a new one? So that's most definitely a nice thing to see. However, there are some things that are still missing. Not a lot, but a couple of them that are still missing. So for example, let's remain with the tag, right? So if I go into search, I have this button here, so I can search. These are my pages in this notebook, right? Oops, not like that, but we actually go, this is the other one. Like, why do I have to go OK just to be able to go to the next menu? That is ridiculous. This is not how a modern thing should function. Plus, when I'm in here, I can't do anything. I'm locked with the submenu completely, and the only thing I can do is I either select an option or use the pen and tap on the side. Like, come on. That's been there for a way too long, and these are such basic things that really need to be kind of fixed. So we need to be able to go from menu to menu normally, and you need to be able to tap out of the sub-menu from your toolbar and not be able to just tap with the pen. So those are the things that are still unfortunately present. They're not pleasant, but they are present. So if we go to search, which is what I wanted to show, is here's my document, right? And it has these pages and blah, blah, blah. So let's go back. All right, and now I can click on bookmark, and this is the page that I bookmarked, which is great. But here it says search by note mark or text box, and that's great. But again, it would have been nicer if we had a classification of note marks and not everything dumped into the text box itself, because the same problem as before that I mentioned, which has been solved in the notebook itself, of note marks, of the existing note marks showing, like if I want to search note marks, I don't want to remember exactly how I wrote them. And if I go like my chapter, which I do know its name, if I just don't know how to type it correctly, let's go chapter. It will show, it is doing, these are the pages that I have note marked as my chapter, but the usability of it is weird. Now there's plenty of room here to have two buttons, one with the star, which is for the bookmarks, and next to it, the one with the existing icons for the note marks. So if you want to search bookmarks, you tap on that. If you want to search note marks, it just shows you note marked pages, and the text box then transforms into the same functionality that we had before, which is when you tap, it shows you the existing note marks, and you tap on the one that you want to search. So that is far more streamlined way of implementing this. So yes, the note mark implementation, one suggestion was implemented, and that's a great thing. But again, it's not the complete experience. So it was just one thing. It's not a whole thing that's implemented, and that is still lacking in the notebook, at least on the Origin. And another one, which is a really big one for me, and I can't understand it for the life of me, and that is, if you're in a reader or in a notebook, it doesn't matter. You have no access to the Frontlight. So you don't have any access to the Frontlight. So the only way that I can adjust the Frontlight while I'm writing or reading is to actually exit and then go to here. Unless it has a gesture that does that. I don't know, like Kobo has some vertical sliding gestures, but this is like just inserting a page or not. So two fingers, nope. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I can't figure out if there's a gesture. We should know about it, and it should be possible to find that information more easily, set it up or anything like that. And if there's no gesture, well, then there should be a gesture, or we should have the ability to simply, this icon here, this one, you know, the e-ink thing, well, that one can easily be placed. Come on, dude. You can't exit this one. Okay, so that user interface is just really strange. Yeah, that icon can either be here or somewhere so that it's very easily accessible, and then you just tap on it and adjust the Frontlight. It doesn't have to be anything more complex than that. I personally hate gestures. They complicate things so much that it's unnecessary, but just having like a little icon here and then figuring that out, that would be a nice thing, because there is a genuine need to have the ability to adjust the Frontlight intensity when reading and writing. And while we're talking about the Frontlight setting, one of the things that I mentioned before was that the minimum setting of the Frontlight originally was way too high and was not really comfortable to use in very dark situations. It was still glowing. Well, thankfully, that has been changed and improved dramatically. So now you have a much bigger range of the Frontlight itself, and you have a nice ability to still control that color itself. So I really like the fact that they have implemented this and fixed it, because right now you can't see it here because it's super low, but when you put it completely in darkness, the lowest setting of the Frontlight is far more comfortable than it used to be originally. So that's a good thing to see on the Mobiscribe Origin. So what's the battery life on the Mobiscribe Origin? That was one of the weak points before, because the reading was okayish, but the writing was really kind of bad, because even when you would set the Frontlight all the way down to the minimum and write, you would get around 5 hours of worth of continuous writing per battery charge, which was really rather low. In the meantime, Mobiscribe Origin has received several updates, and some of them have addressed battery life, efficiency, optimizations, and also, the Frontlight minimum as well. So I wanted to repeat that worst case scenario that I had from before, which is continuous writing for 1 hour with the Frontlight set to minimum, this time the new minimum, and then see what kind of results do we get now 1 year after Mobiscribe's release. And when I did that now in 2022, when I write continuously for 1 hour, Wi-Fi on, Frontlight at the minimum, it's on, but it's at the minimum. The Mobiscribe Origin has now spent 14% versus 20% what it spent before in 1 hour, which basically amounts to around 7.14-15 hours per charge, and that is good. So now, after a year, we actually can see that the Mobiscribe Origin should be able to comfortably, very comfortably, last a full insane day or worth of note-taking. So you can note-take until your arm falls off, and the Mobiscribe Origin should be able to support and have enough power to do that. A year ago, there was a feature that I mentioned that was like in the making and about to come out, and in November-ish, maybe December, November, a new feature came out, which is the MobiCloud. Now, the MobiCloud is a service that's free to all of the MobiCloud of Mobiscribe users, so you don't need a subscription or anything like that. And what it does offer you is a place where not all, but the selected notebooks can be stored, backed up, and the ability to actually send notebooks or files via an email service. So very similar to how Remarkable does it, but you don't use you don't have an email client or anything like that if you don't want to install an app, but you actually have it like that. First of all, you need to create an account for the service. How do you do that? Well, the easiest thing is to basically initiate it for the first time. And how do you do that? Well, if you're in a notebook, for example, and you tap on these 3 extra options, and then you go to backup, right? By default, it's going to ask you, hey, do you want to use internal memory? Do you want to use Dropbox, Evernote? But now we have the option of using the MobiCloud. When you tap on that, now I have registered, but when you tap on that for the very first time, you will get a pop-up dialog that's going to ask you to either log in or to create an account. Creating an account is super easy. Username, your email, password, you get a confirmation email, you confirm the email, and presto, you're done. Then you kind of log in here, and that's it. And since then, you're able to select any note and then kind of back it up like that. And then I can overwrite my backup because I already have it. And there we go. Now I'm uploading, and upload has been successful. So then you also have an option. When you go to extra options, you can basically export or email the document, or you can convert it. So either way you go, you're going to get the same thing. Convert or email, you end up at the same place. So if I click on email, it's going to take me to convert, which is kind of weird, but it's basically convert with the default save share set to email, as instead of when I go to here and I go to convert, same exact thing, it's just saying, hey, share via internal memories. Either way, the functionality here is you can output the notebook as a PDF or a series of PNGs. And if I wanted to do this, it's current page, whole notebook, or selected pages. Then you go to selected pages, and maybe I want to export only these 3, for example. Then go, okay, that's what I want to do. Where do you want to export it? I can export it as a PDF internally, Dropbox, Evernote, or email, which was the default right there, right? So, and then when I go to next, I can input my address here. Now it's exporting the selected pages as a PDF, sending it out. Okay, it says it's successful, and let's see when will I get it. Maybe I don't get a notification. All right, so I've received it. Mobiscribe, my message here. From which address do we get it? We get it from mail@mobiscribe.com. Unlike with the Remarkable, we don't get that signature here, which is something that I really like. And the PDF that we've gotten is Very nice. So these are the things that I've selected and they are here and everything is normal. So very normal functionality here as far as the email sharing and very, very convenient to use. All right, so how do you access the MobiCloud? Well, it depends on the platform. If you're on a computer, then you go to cloud.mobiscribe.com. Unfortunately, on the mobiscribe.com website, you don't have any indication where you can access this, so that's kind of strange. But anyway, you go to cloud.mobiscribe.com on a computer. If you want to access it on an Android or on an iOS, then you have dedicated apps. The links are provided down below in the description, and then you can get them from there, or you just kind of search for it, find it, and install it, and then you have the access to it. Then you log in with your regular account, and that's pretty much it. Once you do, so far I've only synchronized one, but this is how that simplified user experience looks like. And this is where your notes actually appear. So you click on it and then it shows here. And then you're just gonna go through the pages here. So yeah, it's there, but it's faulty, as in, so I have to, oh, good Lord. Okay, so everything is a step and a step and a step. So the implementation of this is not complete and it's not, I don't know, it's not modern. So first of all, yes, I can click like this between each of the pages, and then I can choose from this roller here my page number, which is fine, it's okay. Can I type it in? Yes. Let's see, can I type in something else? Yep, I can type it in, but when I press enter it doesn't go. You actually have to enter the page, select the page, and then click on jump to page. And that's again the same kind of implementation mentality is transferred into outside of the Mobiscribe Origin, which is multiple steps and way too many steps for things that can be streamlined very, very easily. And the second problem that I see is that there's no template. The template is not exported or backed up, and I would not be happy if this was my only copy of my notebook and that it has no template there. Then that's not something that I'm gonna be okay with. But then you can download the note file itself in its native format, or you can download a page. What you cannot do is, again, strange, which is I can't download the whole file. So if I click here, it's gonna download it as a note, but I don't know what can I do with this file. So let's try if I can open, I don't know what can I open it with. I know that I don't have any app that can open it. If I download page, it's going to download it as a PNG, all right? But what I don't have is I can't download it as a PDF. And that, again, is something that I would expect to be able to do from my backed up note files, especially because I don't know what I can do with the note file. I don't know if there's an app. Maybe Mobiscribe could provide a dedicated app that actually is handling notes or whatever, I don't know. But what I do know is that an average user will want to use it as a PDF. And currently in the MobiCloud, you can't really download this as a PDF. The navigation is a little clunky and the templates are not exported down here. So the implementation is here and it's starting to get there, but it is not complete. This is not something that I would characterize as a complete implementation, but the direction where it's going is good. So we can search for tags. So for example, it should display my available tags. How am I supposed to remember where my tags are? So maybe just display tags or something like that. But let's say my chapter, and then I search, and there we go. This is great. So now it's displaying my note marks, which is something that I really, really like. So there's definitely really good thinking, and this is the old one. Okay, it's getting there. So it remembers my saved data. So, but where's my, I think it's new chapter as well. New chapter, maybe? Yeah, it is. Okay, cool. So then you have a new chapter as well. And then I go back to folder and now they are there. Well, why wasn't this here to begin with, right? If I'm here and it don't show all of my available tags, and then I can just select from them. When it's already here, like, why not have it instantly there? So this is pretty good. What I'm kind of worried about is I don't know what this delete button does. I'm not gonna click on it simply because it doesn't say what it does. So I don't know if it's going to delete my account. I don't know if it's going to delete something that I haven't selected because I'm not in anywhere. So yeah, okay, I can delete this, but back to folder, and then it goes back to folder, no folder inside current folder. Well, yeah, no folder inside the current folder, because how do I make that? How can I create a new folder? Oh my god, so the delete was for the entire folder. That was freaky. So yeah, again, this is kind of strange, because if I didn't have a back button, I wouldn't know where I'm at. I don't know that there's other folders. I don't know any of those things. Normally, you would display where you are, so a breadcrumb trail of your directories. So this should say, basically, how far back do we need to go? Well, you shouldn't have back when you are home. When you're at root, the back should not be there. So it should be okay. If it's endnote, then when I click on this, then it should say, hey, where am I? I'm at endnote. So when I click on mydeepguide, then it should say endnote/mydeepguide, and then I'm here. And then I would have to have buttons over here, which is create new folder, select multiple folders, select files, like multiple selection of files to move them around the folders, and just basic management and things like that. I mean, really normal things that we are all used to it. And let's even maybe like even more fancy, which is click and drag to reorder things, to make it a little bit more modern, so you can click and drag and drop into a new folder. And these things, I mean, those are, as far as I'm concerned at least, some really fundamental things that have to be there if a new service is to be provided, because it needs to be usable. Currently, this is almost like an alpha. For me, this wouldn't even be a beta, because there's way too many things that are unclear for an average user to use this comfortably, and they're not all implemented correctly. So yeah, the stuff for MobiCloud and the functionality for MobiCloud is really great, that you can send out things from the device directly. I like those. And that you can share via email, so that's really cool. But the cloud interface on the external platforms is really lacking, and on a very kind of basic level. So let's check out how does it look like on a mobile platform. All right, so here we are. The app has been installed. I have logged in with my account. View as a list or as an icon. Okay, so we have that, which is nice. What would be also very nice is to have the ability to see how much free space is left, because I believe it's around 200 megs that you get on an account for, and that's not that much. And if a single note that I exported here is 5 megabytes, then yeah, definitely you want to know where you're at. But here we have, there we go. It's a little bit better on the mobile, because at least I have an indication where I'm at, which is definitely not something that I had there. But a breadcrumb would also be a welcome thing to have, so that I know, you know, where within all of those things, because maybe I just want to go back all the way to the root, right? And then I just tap on that one, and I don't have to go back, because maybe I have a much deeper kind of construction of hierarchy of folders. But more importantly, in the mobile app itself, I don't have the option to create a folder. So there's that. Can I long press and move? Nope, I can't do that. All I can do is allow, yes, and open up a animation note. And the same thing is there. No templates. You can't swipe left or right or up and down. You gotta use buttons. For the next page, it's quite slow, and for the page itself, nope. So if I wanted to go to page 31, it's, yeah. All right, so maybe all of this is a very early implementation of the whole platform. So I'm just going to give it a benefit of the doubt that what we're seeing here is a super early version of it, but it's not classified as beta, it's not classified as alpha. It is available for the users now, and I have to look at it as such. And once you offer something to the users, it has to resemble a finished product of some sort, and this, unfortunately, the user interface for these things doesn't, and the functionality also isn't there, because I can't use this normally. I can't get to the jump to a page, I can't swipe. Using previous and next as buttons on a touch device is something that I don't think we've had maybe 10-15 years. So definitely dated functionality, not just the design but the functionality, which is a problem. With the design you can go away with, but the functionality and the usability, if it's dated, then that actually becomes a problem. So yeah, MobiCloud, great thing that it's there, but what's there needs a lot more work on everything, functionality, design, and all of it, to actually get it to work nicely outside of the platform. On the Mobiscribe itself, it works great, and I like it most how it works when it's used from the Mobiscribe itself. Where as soon as I move away from the platform, the way it's implemented, PC, Mac, iOS or Android, doesn't matter. I guess this functionality is going to be exactly the same. It's lacking quite a lot of basic things that I wish they could add sooner rather than later. All right, Mobiscribe Origin a year after. What's it like? Well, it's definitely better. Like, let's get that out of the way. So for sure, it's a lot better. First of all, we have that huge bump in writing latency speed from this latest update, actually propelling the Mobiscribe Origin to the top of the Desta results chart. So now it is right there with the Note Air 2 and the Max Lumi 2. It's a little bit underneath, but not really something perceptible, making it extremely comfortable to write on and to use, and the latency is now barely perceptible, which really does make quite a bit of a difference when you use the device on a daily basis. Second of all, we have also these other additions that we've covered and improvements. So you have these note tags, you have bookmarks, you have e-ink optimizations, you have faster device, faster kind of behavior. It has better touch recognition and all of these kinds of things. So lots of things have been generally improved on the device. It has now this kind of new type of a cover, which I really do like, or a bumper cover protector silicone one, which is kind of cool. So overall, I think that it works really good. But most of the new things that are being added, the user experience and the user interface feels extremely dated and extremely clunky. This is usually what happens when somebody who's a programmer without experience with user experience or user interface, or human user interface, HUI, without that kind of experience or access to an expert that can help them with that, this is usually what we see. So the implementation is good and it's functional, but the HUI, the human user interface, is quite bad. And you can definitely see that as a telltale sign in the MobiCloud, which is a great idea and functions great on the device, but as soon as we move out of it, then you have these next previous buttons and it just feels way dated, something that has no place in 2022. And to actually have and release the smart device app that doesn't allow you to swipe pages next, but that you actually have to tap the buttons, that may seem like a small thing to somebody who's techie, but to an average user, that is a huge no-no. So that's something that has to be fixed like as soon as possible, and all of these little things that I kind of mentioned. But the core of it is that the ideas that are presented and the direction where it's going, I still do like it. But I think that Mobiscribe as a company would benefit greatly if they would hire somebody who has experience with HUI, UX, and UI interfaces. Somebody who can help them test these things and tell them like, okay, this functions, but I want to get there in 2 steps rather than 6, right? There's no need to do that. Like, okay, where's the front light in this mode? Where's the front light in that mode? And that leads me to the second part that I really think that in the long term, Mobiscribe Origin environment could benefit from, which is unification of the user experience. As I mentioned, currently now you go into the EPUB and then you read EPUB and you have to remember commands and the workflow and how to do things for an EPUB. Then you go to a PDF and then you have to learn and to remember how to do things on an EPUB or PDF, sorry. And then you go to the notes and then you gotta learn and blah, 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 blah. You see what I'm saying? It's supposed to be a Mobiscribe user experience, not a note-taking PDF, EPUB, calendar, whatever type of experience. So that's something that they definitely have to work on, and that's something that unfortunately Mobiscribe Origin as a platform still lacks. Another thing that it still lacks is that dreaded PDF reader, which is getting better, but so slowly that it's really not that good. Most alarmingly, you still do get some instability issues, which is really not what you want in a simple app such as a PDF reader on an e-ink reader / note-taking device. 1 year after, if you don't use it as a reader, then you're gonna have a really good time, and if you don't depend on it as a reader, then you're gonna have a really good time. You can use Kindle. Kindle works perfectly, doesn't crash, and it's all good. And especially with the optimizations, it works even better. But the element where the Mobiscribe Origin really shines, it shined before, but now it's like super polished and shines even more, is as a note-taking device. It's portable, it's durable, it gets you there, it's now faster, it has more functionalities, and those functionalities for note-taking are getting better and better and better. So as a note-taking device, I was impressed before, I'm even more impressed now, but I think that the platform needs more work, more unification, because the potential is most definitely there. The design, the hardware, everything is there, but currently the software is still letting it down and the device is not actually obtaining its full potential. I was hoping to see more of that potential fulfilled a year after. We have this massive decrease of writing latency, which is a huge thing to see. Absolutely, I don't want to take away any value from that because that's a big one. It's just that there's other things to focus on as well. So, and that would be a very beneficial thing as well for the platform. At least that's what I think. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please like and subscribe and ding the notification bell down below to get notified when new videos come out on My Deep Guide. Also remember to check out the link down below again for the playlist My Daily Organizer, where you will find a list of videos for My Daily Organizer. What is My Daily Organizer? Well, it's an organizer I made, fully hyperlinked 1800 page document that is your yearly, quarterly, weekly, monthly, daily organizer, blah blah blah, yada thing. Check out the videos and see if this is something that can help you organize your work or private time or whatever it is that you may have. It is helping literally thousands of people, which is a great thing to see and hear, and maybe it's something that can help you in some of your needs or not. Either way, check out the videos down below to see if that's a product that might suit you or not. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and see you in the next video. Bye.